stuck right now. Almost feels like you have no idea where to go. And sometimes it just doesn't feel like the path is clear. You're just wandering around, kind of thinking, shall I go in this direction? This looks like a good direction. I want to pursue this opportunity, but actually you think to yourself, but there's this other opportunity over there. Or you just feel like you have absolutely no idea what to do. Well, there's so many times that I felt that way in the past. I remember times in particular where I just felt completely stuck, and I think sometimes we do, don't we? Where we just don't know if we're going in the right direction or if we're making the right decision. And we're constantly, sometimes even looking for reassurance from friends, from family, from people that we know in order to confirm that we're going in the right direction rather than connecting with ourselves. Morgan Freeman talks about his inner voice, and he says his inner voice tells him if he's going in the right direction or if he's going in the wrong direction. It helps to confirm, to know if he's making the right decision. So this is what we're talking about today, the inner voice. And what the inner voice is, because there could be a little bit of a misconception when it comes to the inner voice. You could think that it's mostly to do with thought, but actually it's not to do with thought at all. It's to do with a feeling sense. And that's the confusion, isn't it, sometimes? The inner voice, you would think, that's that quiet voice. And it could be based on words, but actually it's to do with the feeling sense within the body that we don't always listen to. Let me give you an example. Maybe you've been in a situation before where you knew that somebody was going to call. You just knew instinctively that that person was going to call you, and they did. Or maybe they just turned up in the middle of nowhere. You just, oh, I haven't seen you in a long time, Sarah. And then you just address them that way because you notice, but actually you thought, oh, I was thinking about you today. That's strange because you turned up. Or that's strange, you called me up today. And that's kind of similar in terms of it's not thought-based, it's feeling-based. That just something that we notice, it's something that we feel within the body rather than something that we're thinking about. So it's not a thought phenomenon, it is a feeling sense within the body. And we need to pay attention to the sensations of the body. So one in particular for me was, before I did the multi-author book Creating Joy, I was umming and ahhing about it. I didn't know if I was making the right decision, mainly because sometimes you're just leaving yourself to vulnerability, aren't you? Expressing how you feel, your stories. And the vulnerability makes you feel fragile sometimes because you're leaving yourself to interpretation and people's opinions, all these things that go through your mind when you are telling your own story. So I was overthinking it, but what I did was I connected with what was going on inside, not just that part. I also connected with everybody around me in terms of guides that I also talk about as well. That you have guides that are always supporting you on your journey, and that can be coming in the place of a song that you might hear. It can be various different things. So for me, it was a feeling sense that I had within the body. It's just something like a knowing. I didn't know why, but I felt like this is a step for me to do. And then I decided I was going to do the multi-author book. And based on the multi-author book, I got some features in magazines, articles like Yahoo, Digital Journal, NBC, to share my story and also the practices that I talk about, self-compassion for inner healing. And that really started to help me in terms of my business. After that, I got another opportunity, which was acting based this time, and that was for Winnie the Pooh. Not know how well it was actually going to do. It was just one of those things that we just didn't know what was going to happen, but I felt this feeling sense. I just felt this sense. This is a good project to do. This is something I like to do. And sometimes what I do is I connect with myself and ask that question, how do I feel about this? I took the opportunity, and then all of a sudden everything started to change around me. I got featured in articles with Winnie the Pooh. I went to conventions. I did London Comic Con. I was a guest at London Comic Con. It's one of the biggest Comic Cons in the UK, and that was very exciting and a good experience for me. So this is what I'd like you to think about today, because sometimes what we don't do is we don't listen to our intuition. We don't listen to that voice inside because it's clouded by fear. It's clouded by the ego mind that's dictating and saying, no, you should go in this direction. No, you should go in this direction. Or there's uncertainty where you feel like, actually, I don't feel like I can do this. And your ego mind is that part of your brain that just keeps you in survival, keeps you, it can be classed as the inner critic that's telling you, you're not good enough, this isn't going to work out, you might as well just stop. So we've got that part of our brain that keeps us safe. And what I do to counteract that is through self-compassion, because think of it almost like the inner child. What would you say to the inner child that's afraid that wants that reassurance? Intuition is that guiding light. It is that part of you that knows what's right on your path. It's the wisdom, it's the inner knowing. Now we've talked about the sense that we get, the feeling sense that we get. So this is what I'd like you to think about today. Ask yourself this question. If you can think about something that you're struggling with right now and you want support with, maybe placing your hand over your heart and asking this question. How do I feel about this? Does this feel right for me? And just notice through the sensations within the body, sometimes you don't get anything straight away, but it might be later on that you start to notice something. Actually, this is right. Actually, no, it isn't. So that's really what we're basing it on, sensations. Because they're so subtle, we don't always realize them. We don't always pay attention to them, but we do pay attention to the inner critic that's guiding our life most of the time in survival, feeling in that comfort zone, staying there, and that can keep you in a stuck place. Let me know in the comments below if you can relate to this. One of my clients in particular, he was struggling with knowing if he was going in the right direction or not, and we all do this sometimes where we're dictating and our inner critic is dictating and saying, no, you should go, you shouldn't be doing this because you're not good enough. And that's the thoughts that he was getting. He was getting that survival part of the brain that's saying, no, stay here, stay safe because this is easier. What he did was he challenged it. Instead of staying in that place, he said, actually, what I feel right now, I feel like this is right for me. And that's simply by connecting. So that's what he started to do. He started to notice, actually, this is the right direction for me. And that was when he decided he was going to take a job on Emmerdale, and that was as an electrician. So he decided he was going to take that opportunity even though he felt afraid, because sometimes that happens. But what you need to do is challenge it. Like, I'm challenging myself. We just need to turn towards it with kindness, and we'll go through this in another video as well. Challenging it with kindness, supporting yourself along the way, doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. To be able to step outside of that, you have to be okay with not being okay, basically. And the only way to do that is do something that you're afraid of, as long as you're staying safe. If you want to book in a call with me to start to work on your inner voice, to start to open up opportunities to what you want to achieve, because it all comes from you. It all comes from that first step in knowing, actually, I'm going to make this decision to work on this. So if you want to take the first step, I'm currently taking in calls. So put it in the comments below, just look in the description below and you'll be able to see my booking link. I also have a membership as well, Amplify Creative, but I have a select people that I work with on a regular basis to work on things like career, we work on side hustle, actors business, and things like building relationships, leveraging your network. We also look at inner voice as well and self-compassion. Start finding your own answers so you know what direction to go in. It feels more affirming, and that's what we're working on today. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.